What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B, or the 110 Soldier. Today, talking Summer League. I want to talk Bronny and a Japanese star that I told you we're going to kick ass, and they have. Caitlin Clark is out for All-Star Weekend in Indiana. That's an absolute heartbreaker.
Well, this sucks.
And also, she's in a slump, but I have to remind people before y'all are dancing on her grave, and some of y'all really are overreacting, she is still on a pace that is truly legendary. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is kicking ass and soaring for the Chicago Sky, but some of the stuff that happened is a little bit of branding, and y'all are again overreacting. And the WNBA All-Star Game itself is in trouble, but I have a solution that was brought up as a joke, and I'm not laughing. I actually think it's a really good idea. They won't do it, but it's hilarious, and I'll tell you what it is in just a little bit. But first off, let me just get the show started. Yes, I know. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, wow, I wasn't expecting this, mostly because I'm not winning anything today. It's just a podcast. But I'd like to take a moment, since you're here, to make this all about me. First off, thoughts and prayers to whatever trending tragedy, what we're supposed to pretend about, caring about, is happening right now. I might donate money or time, but probably not. And secondly, I want to speak on an issue I'm uniquely unqualified to talk about: politics, specifically some issue that involves me in some way, something that I don't like is happening. Also, quick reminder, men are the problem. All men, they're the problem. That's it, all of them, especially the ones who just won an award over any woman tonight. But seriously, dreams do come true. And as long as you have elite genetics, private trainers, family connections, a $100,000 NIL deal by the age of 17, and a stylist who pretends your red carpet outfit isn't goddamn ridiculous, you can also be like me. So thank you from the bottom of my clout-chasing heart. Thank you very much. Thank you. As the ESPYs were yesterday, and man, Shane Gillis and his monologue was really the only redeeming quality over, once again, was just an insufferable show of athletes and just acting like Hollywood actors. Shane said so much himself. He said, man, you guys have gotten more sensitive than Hollywood has in these little opening roasts where they just get all in there. You can see their buttholes clench.
Well, you're sensitive.
And it's annoying, it's silly, it's unnecessary, and Shane really brought in an injection of humor into what was a, once again, insufferable show. So in case you missed it, I'll give you my reaction afterwards. Here was a little highlight clip from the monologue. Shane Gillis last night roasting the celebrity athletes at the ESPYs, and they did not take so kindly to it. Hit it for me.
SGA is here. Give it up for SGA. Hell yeah, bro. And now everybody sitting around him is in foul trouble. Megan Rapinoe could not make it tonight. Nice. No, we're going to pretend she's a good time. All right. John Jones and Nate Diaz are here. Donald Trump wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that. The New York Knicks had a great season. Karl Anthony Towns is here. Hey, girl. Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. That's crazy. You clap for that. Joe Rogan actually wanted me to be here to host this award show so that I could capture Adam Silver, because Joe thinks he's an alien. And Donald Trump wanted me to be here to capture Juan Soto for the same reason. It's an alien joke. What are you booed up there, dude? Shut up. Shedeur Sanders had his jersey number retired at Colorado this year, and people are saying it's because of nepotism, because of his father, and it's not. It's because he went 13-12 over his career, and he almost won the Alamo Bowl. Definitely not nepotism, right? All right. It's a big year for the WNBA. I love Caitlin Clark. Yeah, hell yeah. Caitlin Clark, she and I have a lot in common. We're both whites from the Midwest who have nailed a bunch of threes. All right, there you go. Lighten up a little. When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House so she can continue doing what she loves most: fist-fighting black women. Shohei Ohtani couldn't make it tonight. Man, I hope his interpreter didn't bet that he was going to be here. Shohei is a once-in-a-generation talent. No one's been able to do what he does at so many positions, pitcher, hitter, and bookie. A bookie is what Bill Belichick reads to his girlfriend before bedtime. Also, I'm not trashing Bill Belichick. First off, he's 73 years old and he's dating a hot 24-year-old and people are criticizing him? What happened to this country? We used to be a great country. He won 6 Super Bowls. Maybe if you guys won 6 Super Bowls, you wouldn't be sitting next to a fat, ugly dog wife. They let me do it. I don't. This is Disney. They allowed that. Well, see, a lot of you don't like me, and that's okay. That's it for me.
And a lot of people in the audience, athletes being what they are in 2025, I thought were just way too tight on this, and people on the internet divided, of course, in their reaction. I can't believe he said that in the Waffle House joke and this and that, nah. Look, Ricky Gervais, when he hosted the Golden Globes, I thought said it best, and Shane Gillis was in the spirit of, dude, I have a choice. Either I cater to you stuffed shirts here in this audience, the few hundred of you, or the potential millions watching at home, and I'll choose the latter. And I thought that's what Shane Gillis did beautifully. He had fun with it because it's an award show, dude. It's not that serious. This is not life or death. You guys need to lighten up a little bit. And the irony of all of this that I love is how much athletes love to criticize media.
The media?
Yeah, the media.
When the media has anything to say, the first thing they'll jump to is, oh, yeah, well, you never played in the NBA. What do you know? You never stepped on the NBA court. What do you know about it? Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, boy, they got a lot to say about comics. They got a lot to say about host, and y'all suck at both of those, man. I even love, Steph Curry when he hosted the ESPYs. I love Steph Curry. Did a terrible job at it. Athletes that have hosted this have done a terrible job at it. You watch Inside the NBA, Ernie Johnson is without question the king MVP of all media because that show has gone on and is now being moved on to another network because it's so amazing. And that is 1,000,000% because when Ernie Johnson is there to drive that train of chaos, yes, everyone else is the funny ones, but man, watching Inside the NBA without Ernie Johnson in the middle, keeping that train on the track, it is absolutely bananas just how far off they get. It is nonsense. That show would not make $1 without Ernie Johnson. So you need the media, but you love to criticize them when they criticize you, but when they do things you can't do, boy, you got all sorts of opinions, which is not unusual for pro athletes to be, hypocritical in their takes and in their problems. But, even the rapping, like that was just, oh God, LiAngelo Ball. That's another pet peeve. If I can just get to a quick aside, it just drives me nuts today with rappers, and I thought LiAngelo, speaking of athletes who tried to do things they're not supposed to, rap is 90% nowadays your presence, your swag, your ability to command a stage. I mean, the fact is 90% of your lyrics, and most of you have ghostwriters or ChatGPT writing it at this point. And the women, this is one thing women got the men beat on. You watch female performers like Taylor Swift or Beyonce or Megan Thee Stallion, man, when they get on that stage, they got swag, they got presence, they command the audience and they make them pay attention. All your rappers, it's so funny, LiAngelo Ball included, in your lyrics, boy, in the studio, you talk all this stuff and then you get on the stage and you got this shy Ronnie-ass persona and it's always just like, I'm the baddest man in the world. Oh, y'all ain't never gonna do nothing. Check this, and it's like, dude, what happened to the you got to swing out. You got to have some swag a little bit, and he had none, just like he doesn't know how to rap. They don't know how to host. They shouldn't tell comics what to do. And again, I thought Shane Gillis had hysterical jokes that didn't land the way that they should in that audience. The Megan Rapinoe one is hysterical. I'm sorry. She is truly a little bit insufferable. Watch her podcast with Sue Bird. Shout out to them. But man, it is not my cup of tea. And boy, they're a tough listen. So with him just saying, pretend she's a good time. She's clearly probably not the one you want to sit next to at a party. He went after Trump. I thought he went after both sides. He went after Donald. That Epstein joke was out of line. How dare you, Shane? You'll never come back to the White House. Never. I mean, he went after both sides, kind of South Parkian in his spirit. Karl Anthony Towns joke was funny. The WNBA reference about how, man, none of y'all actually know who WNBA players are, shouting out his buddy's wife, was absolutely brilliant. Shadur Sanders' Nepo joke, the Caitlin Clark jokes, I thought were right on target and didn't cross any lines. And to me, the attitude and entitlement of the athletes themselves is the joke. This idea that you guys are too serious and too important to get roasted a little bit. And just, again, the way their butts clenched up, and I just thought it was silly. It was an overreaction. But I got to shout out Shane Gillis and everyone else who said, dude, relax. This is supposed to be an award show. This isn't serious. This isn't life or death. Let's treat it as such. And fun little aside here, again, quick aside, if you guys want this to be taken so serious, ESPN, how about you take the seriousness of your awards at the same level you ask to be taken in the world and by comics and by everybody else? Because the fact is, you do not take your awards very seriously, and I will start with the Breakthrough Athlete Award that for 4 years has become painfully obvious of what I'm talking about. And look, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but when did the Breakthrough Athlete ESPY literally stop being about performance and just become more about symbolism?
It's the symbolism, sister.
It really is less about a breakout star and just the most inspiring narrative, and it's great for them, and I understand, but if you look at the last 4 years, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me point out, the reason I'm picking on this award specifically, they even said it last night in the award show. They said, you go from being nobody to having the jersey now that every grandma wears. So, like, you're not just a little bit of notoriety. You go from being nobody to the huge star. That is what breakout athlete is supposed to mean. And so if you look at the last 4 years, it's just, dude, it's like, come on, man. Like, what do you want me to say? That there's clearly nothing going on here? Again, 2022, Eileen Gu won it, an Olympic skier, over Ja Morant and Jonathan Taylor. And yes, she was a teen sensation. Yes, she was a gold medalist. But it was clearly an emphasis on the cultural role as a Chinese-American icon and this global political story, and not about who actually had their grandmas wearing their jersey. When Angel Reese won it the next year over Caitlin Clark, again, we all kind of knew what time it was. But she also beat out Brock Purdy and Julio Rodriguez, and she won an NCAA title. And yes, you can't see me, but I think, again, clearly you can kind of get the idea of where they were going with that award. Then the next year they give it to Juju Watkins. Check my receipts. I love Juju Watkins, but she was a freshman at USC, and she beat Wemby for the breakout athlete that year. Get the come on, man. Like, she had a phenomenal freshman campaign, don't get me wrong, but beating out Victor Wembanyama and even C.J. Stroud, who was the offensive rookie of the year that year for the Texans, was bananas, and clearly felt more like it was about just, again, promoting women's basketball than anything else. And then last night they gave it to Alana Marr, who's a rugby star, over Cooper Flagg and Paul Skeens. And they've even admitted it was kind of a surprise win, and of course it was more about her body positivity. She's this big jacked girl, and she's very successful, and she's had a lot of stuff outside of rugby as well that has made her famous. I guess she's been on, like, Dancing with the Stars and, you know, swimsuit issue and all that. But once again, this was an award more about promoting body positivity than it was about actually the best breakout athlete. And she had all her speech, you know, strong is beautiful, strong is powerful, girls are crying, you read all the comments. So it's nice. I'm not against her winning the award, and she's a great ambassador. But come on, man, was she really truly the breakout performer of the year? Is anyone really wearing an Alana Marr or Eileen Gu jersey and not Cooper Flagg or Ja Morant or Caitlin Clark? Are they really wearing a rugby jersey? Do you get where I'm going? It's not about being a dick. I'm just saying, you know, I get both sides of this argument here.
Good arguments on both sides.
Pro says, hey, representation matters. Women deserve their sports shine, and these role models and the visibility is great for them, and it's just an award, and that's all great. But, I mean, honestly, it's the Breakthrough Athlete of the Year in your own definition by who's the most popular, who's the most talked about, who's the one that now everyone's wearing their jersey. And it's really not starting to mean that anymore. The last 4 years in a row, it really is clearly more symbolism. And no winner in the last 4 years came from any of the major men's leagues, even when they had some pretty elite seasons. People like Wembanyama and others. So it feels like best moment instead of, you know, best athlete. No disrespect to the ones that won.
Oh, I said with all due respect.
And in general, is it nicer that they got the award? Sure. But if ESPN wants to highlight social impact and visibility, it's great. But at the same time, don't insult our intelligence. Don't insult our intelligence and tell us that that's actually the biggest breakthrough athlete of the year. So if you want to do that and kind of move that award that way, maybe move it into more of those type of smaller fields rather than put out the big pro athlete next to it and then say that they had a bigger impact, because that's just nonsense. It's silly.
Cut the shit.
You want to be taken so serious as an award show, take your awards actually seriously. Moving on completely. Oh, this is terrible news. absolutely terrible news. This came out earlier today, breaking news. Caitlin Clark is out. And just sad. And y'all are dancing on Caitlin Clark's grave, and I think it's a little bit premature, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. Tell y'all to calm your sorry asses down. It's really not that serious, and she's actually doing, still in her slump, a lot better than you think she is. But if you hit this next picture here for me, Mateo, Caitlin Clark has been announced to be out for the All-Star game, which is absolutely heartbreaking for the city of Indiana and the WNBA. As she said just earlier today, I'm incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game. I have to rest my body. I will still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all the action, and I'm looking forward to helping Sandy coach our team to a win. So Caitlin's clearly been in a slump. I don't think that is any sort of breaking news itself, and the injuries have played into it. But there's also been other situations, when she argued with the ref in that game against the Sun where she got injured. I thought that was not a good look for Caitlin Clark, as she really, the come here motion came across bratty, it came across entitled. And I still wonder what that ref said to trigger her like that, because she seemed pretty calm, and that ref said something kind of under his breath, and that is what really got her going. And I do not think that I am the only one in the camp of these referees seem to have something against her, and I do think it has to do with their own behavior, at least 50%. The fact is, Caitlin is the one Achilles I've always said with her is that she bitches too much, she complains too much. Again, check receipts. I've said this multiple times that I think that is her biggest problem, and I do think it's starting to really become an issue with these referees here. The one thing I will not accept, though, is the Angel Reese people who, again, everyone's dancing on Caitlin's graves during the slump. And one of the things y'all have been saying the most is that, oh, if that was Angel doing that, if that was Angel doing that, if that was Angel. What do you mean if? What is this if this was Angel? Just to remind you guys, Angel Reese leads the WNBA with 6 technical fouls this year. She's been ejected before. Just this year, she slapped a clipboard out of her assistant coach's hand. She just got in a fight with a fan literally the other day and had to get them kicked out or whatever. She is constantly fighting with players. She just almost got in a fight again with Caitlin this year. She complains to the refs all the time. So what is this what if? Like, what is this idea of this hypothetical you put out there of like, oh, if that was Angel, if that was Angel. Angel does this shit all the time too. These girls both complain way too much to the refs. They both need to have a little bit of an attitude check. They both show a little bit of entitlement at varying levels, but they both show it. And I don't know why it's not okay to just say, look, I'm still a fan and she needs to do better. Whether it's Angel or Caitlin, why is that so hard for people? Just to go, you know what? She's not perfect. She needs to do that better, but I'm still a fan. Why is that so difficult to do? For some reason in this situation it is. But like I said, the injuries this year with Caitlin have really been the problem. If there's anything to really highlight besides the shooting slump, which I'll get into, is the injuries. Now it's been a total of 10 missed games. She missed 5 overall starting in May with a quad strain. That was right after she had 4 missed games in late June, July, and then she missed 1 preseason game with leg tightness, and then she re-aggravated her groin at the end of the game, of course, just the other day against Connecticut. Was visibly upset, was smacking her head against the thing, was in tears. This is the first time she's ever dealt with this. This is the first time Caitlin, including high school and college, has ever had extended breaks due to injury and having to deal with that adversity and struggling on the sidelines there. But her not being available for the All-Star game in Indianapolis is got to be one of the biggest blows to the WNBA in recent memory. That is terrible news for them. That is terrible news for Indianapolis. And overall, this is going to be a continuing issue with her groin injury. I saw this, and I had to bring this to you. Lisa Leslie just the other day. Lisa Leslie had a kind of similar injury back in the day and talked about what Caitlin might be going through and how much it might be lingering. And it's not good. She does not give a good prognosis. I wish I had good news for Caitlin fans, but if you can hear Lisa Leslie here, this ain't good, talking about when she got this groin injury years ago. Hit it for me.
Well, I really feel for Caitlin Clark because I actually had that injury 2006. And listen, I was heavily taped around my thigh, around my glute, just trying to make sure there was enough pressure to hold that groin. And the hard part is that the groin is sort of an area that you can't just touch and go, it hurts right here. You feel it deep. You have to get a lot of deep treatment, whether it's ice and heat and rest. Well, can Caitlin Clark. She can't find a lot of rest right now because she's mid-season. But I think that injury is really tough because it lingers. No matter how much medicine you take, you can feel fine. You get back out there, one move, one change of direction, and boom, you're right back feeling that same type of pain. So it's going to be a tough injury that she's going to have to manage.
How long did it take you to recover from?
To be honest, Tracy, I play tennis and I can still feel that injury linger because I don't know that it ever really goes away. You just learn to manage and play with it, which could also lead to why her numbers are down. Listen, the logo shoots the longest distance out there in the WNBA consistently, and that's going to take away from her lift, whether she's shooting three-point range or even further out. I remember struggling all season long in 2006 with that injury.
So, yeah, that news sucks. Just terrible all the way around because it looks like this is something that's not going to go away for the remainder of the season, according to one of the legends that has dealt with the same thing. And she's right about the shooting struggles, and I think the injury does play a part of it. I think also it's mental, but the shooting struggles are real. I do not want to run from this topic. Caitlin Clark has not shot the way Caitlin Clark usually does and what we've come to expect this season by any stretch of the imagination. She's only shooting 36.7% from the field. She's only shooting 27.9% from threes. That's below league average. That is a major dip from her rookie year. And so much of it is connected to the road, which is also an interesting part of all this. At home, just FYI, Caitlin Clark in 8 home games has shot 41%, 39% from threes, and averaged 19 points and 9.3 assists, which would be phenomenal. But her 5 games on the road, she's only shot 29% from the field, 6% from threes, and averages only 12.2 points, 8.2 assists.
Road hazards.
She had a 3 of 28 from 3 4-game stretch where it was only 10.7%. That was the worst ever by a high-volume NBA shooter over a 4-game run. But she said herself, when I'm missing shots, a lot of times it's my feet, and if I'm balanced, I still feel like I have a great chance. And I do think that the groin injury is clearly playing into that, along with some of the mental stuff. But, I mean, it's bad, man. Caitlin Clark is not shooting like Caitlin Clark, and I think a lot of it is the confidence.
Where's your confidence?
It's not trying to make an excuse, but when I got even Lisa Leslie and others saying, yeah, the farther out you get, and who shoots it farther than Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark shoots from an average distance farther than Steph Curry, Trae Young, or Damian Lillard. Go look that up. All that's factual. And if that's an issue and having to shoot from that distance, not to mention being double-teamed and triple-teamed and defended every night like your Steph Curry in Game 7 of the goddamn NBA Finals, people take out so much of their trauma on this poor girl when they get her defensively. Now she doesn't have the refs on her side. So it's been a lot. There's been a lot of things going on. However, everybody needs to calm down a little bit with this idea that she sucks. This proves that it's over. It proves that she's overrated and she's not the next star of the league.
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dum-dum talk.
This is where the dancing on the grave that I've noticed from too many people who, again, unrelated trauma, don't know basketball, are coming in with all these dumbass opinions and all these dumbass comments trying to just stir up the pot. So let's get it back to what's actually going on. Is Caitlin Clark struggling from the field? Absolutely. Is Caitlin Clark in a slump? Absolutely. Is Caitlin Clark having injuries for the first time in her long career so far from high school to college to the pros? Yes. Still, in her worst, this is where it gets interesting. For everyone dancing on her grave, just FYI, in her second year, she is still light years ahead of almost every legend and Hall of Famer you can think of in their second year. Y'all like to forget that she's only 1.5 seasons in to the WNBA, so I thought I would take a look. Where does she rank against other comparable Hall of Famers in their second year?
Let's have a look.
Well, lo and behold, she's top of the list in points and way ahead in assists. Yes, her shooting numbers are down, and that has been admitted. But still, look at the other people and the second years that they had statistically compared to Caitlin Clark. Diana Taurasi, 16 points to her 16.5. Sabrina only averaged 11.7. Asia did average 16.5, but she still averaged more than even Collier, best player in the league this year, and her old favorite Cheryl Swoops. The assist number's not even close. I put Asia 6.4 for rebounds to be nice, but nobody touches her in both points and assists, and she is still top of the league in points created. But I thought this is a good thing to reiterate here, that even with her admitted struggles, and even with her admittedly in a shooting slump, and no one is denying that, she is still way ahead of schedule when it comes to the other people on this list who are all Hall of Famers and GOATs, man. Diana Taurasi, Asia Wilson, Cheryl Swoops, Collier. These are not just mid-level names. These are considered some of the greatest at the sport. And in their second season, look at that. They actually have statistically worse numbers than Caitlin Clark did in her second season. And that's when she's not even playing that good. And that's with her being defended way harder than anyone else has been in their second year. Do you get my point? This whole idea of like, oh, it's all over, nothing to see here, she's overrated, this team sucks, she sucks, everything about her sucks, her fans suck. Calm the F down. She is still way ahead of a lot of people's schedule, not to mention the milestones of triple-doubles and 25-point 10-assist games. I can go on and on and on, but you guys need to really cut this out, this idea that she sucks now because she's had a 10-game, struggle, and most of that has been the 5 games on the road.
Cut the shit.
Cut it out. Grow up. And by the way, let's also kill this other narrative. The Fever are not better without her. Can we put that one to bed as well? Which might be the dumbest thing anyone has said in human history.
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dumb talk.
I made a TikTok for it a week ago, but now I'll reiterate just in case you don't know. They are now 8-5 with Caitlin Clark and are 4-5 without. They had won 3 in a row and just last night got their ass kicked by the Liberty, 98-77 without her. The previous time they had played the Liberty, they beat them 102-88, where Caitlin had 32, 9, and 8. The numbers get even more dramatic. They go from averaging now 85.25 points per game to just 74.8 without her. That is over a 10-point swing. Even when she's not shooting well, the team still plays better with her. In their last 3 games they won with her, she had a plus-minus rating of plus 12, plus 9, plus 21, so for plus 42 over the last 3, and then cut to the last game without her against the Liberty, where they got their ass kicked. The Fever only shot 36.8% from the field.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that?
Because it's devastating to my case!
There's really no statistic number other than I just don't want her to do well and I don't like her fan base that you can really go on at this point. And then when you look too at the legends that she is still surpassing in her struggles, there's a reason that she's popular. There's a reason that people like her. It's not just that people are trying to be whatever that you want to accuse them of. But she is in a struggle. Coach White said it herself. I just want to give her a little grace. She's still an elite shooter. I mean, this girl still impacts the game. She is always the focal point of every defense, every scouting report, double teamed, and still learning to adjust to the pressure of, like I said, a regular season game is somehow to the defender that's on her game 7 versus Steph Curry, and her life's on the line. So y'all act like she's fallen off, but really it's injuries and adjusting to pressure, and she is still leading the league in points created with points and assists combined, even at less than 100%. Caitlin Clark is playing at an all WNBA level. Don't bet against her, and she is still on pace to do better than whatever legend is your current favorite. So I just thought I had to bring that up. On a better note, a more positive note for people that aren't Caitlin Clark fans, got to shout out Angel Reese. She has been on fire.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Angel Reese and the sky are flying high while Caitlin Clark is hurt and struggling, and she is on a run and a tear, and a lot of good things have happened, but just like I have to say, calm down a little bit to the people about Caitlin Clark, I do have to say calm down a little bit with some of the things like the cover and the shoe, and there's a lot of this is branding that needs to be addressed, and let's actually address the elephant in the room on some of this with Angel Reese, but the girl truly is having a great little run right now. And good for her, because this was after a terrible start. She started off the season in a slump. If maybe y'all have already forgot. She had to trademark the term Rebounds because everyone was making fun of her. She was missing all sorts of layups. People were winning consistently, doing this bet on, it was a prop bet on whether Angel Reese was going to miss the first shot, and she missed like 6 in a row, and it became a viral sensation. So it's good for her, but it's also good for Caitlin, and it's good for the league. And I'll get back to why that's true. But Angel Reese is now a double-double machine and a marketing megastar, man. On the court, she is now leading the WNBA again in rebounds for the second year, and that's even without the me-bounds. Even if you take away the, quote, me-bound stat, she is still number 1 in the WNBA in rebounds. Off the court now has their signature shoe. She's on the 2K cover. She's all over the place. She's an all-star again. Just to clarify, Angel Reese is an all-star. Don't get it twisted. 14 points per game right now, 12.6 rebounds. It leads the WNBA. She is shooting almost 45% from the field. Angel Reese is either a Dennis Rodman, a Draymond Green, or something combined between the two. And I don't know why people get so offended at that comparison. Like, oh, she's not like a Rodman. She's not like a Draymond. She is literally cut out of their mold. A great rebounder, great defender. You may not like her, but her teammates love her. Shit starter, trash talking. Sometimes it's good. Other times it's detrimental, but all the time it's entertaining. Angel Reese is so close to a baby between Rodman and Draymond. I've never understood why people get so upset at that comparison. And every time I say it, I always get people rabble on me on the internet. But now she has multiple double-doubles in a row. She's shown even more defensive improvement than she already had before. Coaches are crediting her effort, her consistency. She's now gone from all-rookie just last year to a two-time All-Star and is legit getting close to the Most Improved Player award this year, which I think she actually has a real shot at winning. She's dominating the glass, playing with energy, and she's an all-star for a reason. And like I said, and I'll explain now, it's good. This is a good thing. This isn't just good for her. This isn't just good for the league. This is good for Caitlyn, and this is good for Caitlyn fans. Because, keep it real, if the Joker never bested Batman, the rivalry would lose all its steam. You need sometimes, whatever side you are on this aisle, the other one to do bad and the other one to do great, or else there's nothing, you get what I'm saying? There's no fire, there's no friction. And right now, Angel is on top, and it's great because sometimes the Joker has the best Batman, or else the rivalry just goes to shit. The second arc in the movie trilogies are always tough, but they're necessary. That second movie where the Empire Strikes Back, or Thanos gets his snap, and Peter Parker's being held by Iron Man, and we all cry.
Start? I don't feel so good.
That's what makes the third arc so much better if you're on the Caitlyn side. So you need this. We need Caitlyn to be struggling a little bit. We need Angel to be on the come up and doing things and having this competitive rivalry here in order to keep it going, which has been great for the league, has always given them the most ratings both in college and in the pros. So this is the second arc. This is the second part of the trilogy, in my opinion, and I am loving it as it's happening. And thank God it's happening because, dude, this was becoming a rout. This was becoming a rout. Like I said, sometimes the Joker does have to beat Batman. We were getting to a point where this shit was getting out of hand. Y'all were living way too far in the past of the you can't see me of the college game. If you look at the head-to-head stats, Caitlyn is 5-2 if you include college. A lot of y'all like to forget she got her get back the very next year, even in college, and actually got higher ratings for that one than the one that y'all love so much. But if you look, 5-2 record head-to-head, she averages more points by a long shot. She averages more assists by a long shot. She averages even tied on steals. She actually averages more blocks over her career in the WNBA. Of course, she shoots better from three, free throws, and efficient field goal percentage. But going to even this year, where she is slumping and Angel is doing better, it's getting closer, but it's still more of the check marks are on the Caitlyn side. Still averaging more points, still averaging way more assists. She's actually averaging more steals and is really close in blocks, which shouldn't happen between a power forward and a point guard. She still shoots better from three. As bad as she's been shooting, she still shoots better, and that's when she's double team shooting for 28 feet. Angel Reese gets to stand there with nobody around her, and she is still shooting a worse percentage when she's wide open. Even their efficient field goal percentage, as bad as Caitlyn's had a slump this year, is still neck and neck. So it was becoming kind of a sweep here. It was getting to be like we were losing our interest in that rivalry. So with her struggling and Angel doing better, I actually love it. I think it's great for everything going on in the WNBA and is good for the rivalry. And please don't give me the double-doubles. Before I move on to the next point, stop with the double-doubles are gospel. Let me throw this in here just for a fun fact. Simple question.
Simple question.
Who is the 3-year-in-a-row leader in double-doubles in the NBA? I'll repeat. In the NBA, one guy has led the league in double-doubles for 3 years straight. Who is it? Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis, who's a good player, but does anybody actually go, oh man, he leads the leagues in double-doubles. He leads the NBA in double-doubles. He must be the greatest thing the world has ever seen. No. Not even close. I mean, we go, yeah, he's good. He's a solid player. He's an all-star, but calm the F down with, the double-double means that he's the greatest thing of all time. Y'all have suddenly just propelled points and rebound double-doubles into this narrative that somehow goes beyond quadruple doubles or something, and that it somehow makes Angel the greatest thing since sliced bread. And that's just silly because I'll give you a direct comparison. It was Sabonis the last 3 years running in the NBA, leading the league in double-doubles. I have yet to hear anybody go, oh man, he's clearly the best player. He's clearly better than Steph or LeBron or Luka. You get what I'm saying? So cut it out with that. But back to Angel Reese and the All-Star game here. I want to also comment on this part because to cover the shoe as the rivalry is continuing to do well, we're going to have to keep it real here. Dude, some of this was branding. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. And I want to let them have it. I want to let the Angel side have this because they're just so happy that Angel Reese was on the NBA 2K cover and she has her signature Reebok shoe and they introduced both on the same day. And Caitlyn fans who didn't know any better are getting angry on the internet. Why doesn't she be on the cover? Where's her shoe? No.
This is the greatest day of my life.
It was historic for Angel. She was the third player ever on a 2K cover. She's the youngest ever now to get one at 23, is one of the rare WNBA players to get a signature sneaker this early. But this was branding. Anybody who knows anything about media or marketing, there was a strategy and a reason behind this other than just doing who we think is the best player currently. Reebok and NBA 2K are teaming up to sell a story. Reebok has just come back to NBA 2K, the video game, where for a while Reebok was not featured in the video game.
Reebok.
I promise you that the release of the shoe and that company had just as much to do with Angel's current success. Not to mention, NBA 2K wants engagement. They just want clicks. They want clickbait. Everybody already loves Caitlin Clark. She's already leading voting All-Stars, setting all sorts of records. They didn't need her. That's not going to create any controversy. And they are smart enough to know people that buy that video game are not going to boycott the NBA 2K video game because they don't like who's on the cover. You can put Mickey Mouse on that freaking cover. They don't give a shit. It's all about trying to get the rest of the world talking about this upcoming video game and the shoe that Reebok wants to promote. Caitlin doesn't move the needle like that. And by the way, Caitlin doesn't need the needle move like that. Nike and Caitlin don't need any help at all. They don't need any marketing. They didn't need anything. They are kicking ass on their own. Caitlin Clark's shoe was just released like a month ago and sold out in 3 minutes. It was record time. They can't keep these things stocked. They're being already resold like Taylor Swift tickets on eBay and everything else. It has gone bananas, their shoe. They didn't need any help. Angel needed help. Reebok needed help. NBA 2K needed clickbait. I'm happy for her, but keep it a buck. And let's stop acting like this is the WNBA championship and an MVP wrapped into one. It's a little bit silly, but it is a good idea. It was good business, but this was a better business decision. This was not who was the better player, and it was just a solid chess move.
Checkmate, bitches.
But Angel Reese, I gotta repeat, is playing great. She currently has it over Caitlin. She is playing overall better. She is healthy. She's doing good. She's getting shoe deals. She's getting NBA 2K covers. She is absolutely kicking ass. So shout out to Angel Reese and her fan base. You are having a great moment. I would still calm down, though, on it makes her suddenly the MVP of the league and way better than Caitlin Clark. But you're doing good. Good for you.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
All right. This one, I'm a little curious how this is going to go. The WNBA All-Star game, as we've already discussed, is in straight-up trouble because there's no Caitlin Clark. This is going to be a historical, holy crap, wake-up call, in my opinion, when we get to the TV ratings. Last year, when Caitlin and Angel were on the same team, and Caitlin was the highlight of the All-Star game, they got 3.44 million views. That's humongous. The 2003 record previous to that was only 1.4 million. And is really 3.44 is serious numbers. That is damn numbers. But within Indiana, it really probably would have been beaten easily, which it's so sad to think about. Caitlin Clark saving the three-point contest. She didn't do the NBA one last year because she wanted to do it for Indiana in front of the home crowd and with everybody talking about it. Would have easily probably got 4.5 to 5 million, and I don't think I'm over-exaggerating. And unfortunately now, I don't see it doing more than 1.5 or 2 million. So just days ago, man, the WNBA was really at a high point and was really excited about All-Star Weekend, and now they're going to have to struggle to try to figure out a way to garner attention. And the only league so far doing that is Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball continues to excel at the All-Star game. It is so interesting to me that the most boring sport is actually showing the blueprint of how to truly do an All-Star game. Man, it was great. In case y'all missed it this week, they had a unbelievable home run derby where this new guy, Cal Raleigh, and his nickname is the Big Dumper. He won the home run derby with his dad pitching. His brother was catching in this beautiful family moment. He blasted 54 homers. He beat Junior Caminero and was the first catcher ever. He is on a tear in Major League Baseball, 38 home runs before the All-Star break, breaking King Griffey Jr.'s records. He is absolutely on a tear and had a beautiful family moment to win that home run derby, so that was already off to a great start. And the All-Star game the day after was very competitive itself, and even that was super exciting. Ended up being 6-6 in the ninth inning, and instead of just going to boring-ass extra innings, they once again went to a home run derby swing-off, and Kyle Schwarber went 3 for 3 in the tiebreak and walked it off in movie script style, and the players were hyped, and the fans were engaged, and everybody was going nuts. Even during the game, they had great mic'd-up banner with the new stars that people like the casuals need to get to know. Again, names like Cal Raleigh is a good one, Tariq Skubal, unbelievable star pitcher for the Tigers, Paul Skeens and others. So they're introducing all the new young guys with the mic'd up. Meanwhile, the NBA All-Star Game continues to be a layup line, and the WNBA is hosting theirs without the players driving headlines. And there was a great idea that they will never do, but low-key, this would be a fire idea.
I'm super. Thanks for asking. All things considered.
Gay versus straight game. I think this would have been an unbelievable, because it's not like they haven't already done the USA versus the WNBA All-Stars last year, which I think also helped the ratings. NBA has now moved on and followed hockey's example with doing, now they're going to have USA versus the world. So we've come up with some gimmicks before in All-Star games, and the WNBA are the only league that could actually pull this off. And it started off as a joke, and I'm not laughing. I know they'll never do it, but dude, this game would be low-key fire.
So much fire.
The gay versus straight WNBA All-Star game would be an unbelievable game that would get all sorts of talk and all sorts of views. And of course you can't do it because it's 2025 and yada, yada, yada. But again, someone made a tweet of it and brought it up as a joke, and then people started putting the roster together. And I looked at the rosters. Dude, this game would be sick. Look at the lineups. Look at the lineups, and I tried to do nothing but current All-Stars. If we did the straight versus gay WNBA All-Star game, on the straight side, you would have Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Alicia Gray, and Nafisa Collier, current best player in the world right now, as your starting lineup. And off the bench, have legends like Sabrina, Kelsey Plum. You'd also have girls like Hamby and Brink, some young talent on one side.
I'm passing for straight!
And on the other side, you would have Stewart, Paige Beckers, Alyssa Thomas, Arike Ngumbawale, Brittany Griner. Off the bench, great players like Jewel Lloyd, Jonquel Jones, Kate Martin, and Alyssa Smith.
Hey, fine, you win with your gay stuff.
Dude, that is a ball game. That would be not just a unbelievable talking point, but that's just a good game. I have no idea. Somehow Twitter thinks that Team Gay is going to win by 50 points. I think y'all are out of your rabbit-ass mind. First of all, the Asia Caitlin pick and roll on its own would be a nightmare. Then you have Angel Reese doing all the things that they don't like to do, especially girls like Caitlin and some of the scorers like Gray and Collier, getting all the dirty work done. And I think would do a hell of a job guarding girls like Griner and Alyssa Thomas and be able to match their physicality. And yes, Paige and Arike obviously have some history now playing together. Brianna Stewart would make a hell of a 3 option, being that tall, small forward. They would have more size. That would be problematic. But this idea that y'all came up with as we looked at the roster saying that the gay would beat the straight team by over like 50 points, y'all are out of your mind. That is a competitive game. If I knew nothing about sexual preference, that is just an awesome game to watch that would be well matched on both sides. But being that it's so unique and so different that they are the only league that could even have pulled it off, I know they did it as a joke, and I know it's really never going to happen. But if you kind of step back and take a look, I think it's actually kind of beautiful. I think it would actually, you couldn't get people to not mishandle this. The American public would just lose their mind for all sorts of the wrong reasons. But the WNBA is truly the only league that has had most openly LGBTQ players to make this a real thing. And wouldn't this be a highlight of how unbelievably unique and diversified this league is versus others? Something that's an interesting tidbit or kind of extra part of the story. And doesn't that represent the United States and what we want to be and what we're about? I mean, they are truly the most diverse league in the entire realm of professional sports, and there's not even a close second. The fact that they could put these two teams together and they would be so competitive and everyone plays together and works as a team, it's actually kind of a cool thing. You know what I mean? Like, it really would be, in the right lens, I think actually beneficial and show people that we're not so different and everything else, because you're such a unique situation in the W. I said this a long time ago, and in case y'all missed it, to my point, Tawana Bonner, speaking of Indiana Fever and some of their struggles early on. DeWanna Bonner was there for like 5 games, was unhappy. Just FYI, she has now gone back to the Phoenix Mercury to join her fiance, star player Alyssa Thomas, and is doing much, much better. Just had a great game the other day and is much happier. Dude, this is the stuff that, as far as being an NBA or NFL fan, most of the people like me have never had to deal with or never had to be concerned with. And now I'm kind of jealous of it because I said this before. If Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were engaged or married, I know I could get Klay Thompson back to Golden State. If Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were engaged or married, dude, I would be happier than a pig in shit because I think Klay is currently unhappy in Dallas. And just like Alyssa got DeWanna back to the Mercury to join her, I think Steph would have no problem kicking his feet up on the door and go, bitch, my husband is not happy over there in Dallas. I want him back. I want the Splash Brothers back. And Dunleavy would have no choice but to give him what he wants. So it's such a, it was always fascinating because I never had to think about it. As a sports fan for almost 40 years of my life, I never thought about shit like this, and now you see it and you understand it more, and I think that could have been, again, a cool side note to the whole thing. But the game itself, I don't know who wins that game. I really don't. I think you put that on an NBA 2K simulator, I think that's coming out 51-49. That is a fair game on both sides and would be absolutely unbelievable to watch. Game would never happen. I know that. I understand that. I think it'd be cool. People did it as a joke. I ain't laughing. That's a hell of an idea. I wish they'd do it. MLB has already kicked everyone's ass with the All-Star game in different formats and doing different ideas. The NBA is now trying to bring in the hockey idea of doing country versus country. Then you have the WNBA doing USA versus the All-Star game. What's wrong with this one? I say do this one. I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think it'd be good for the fan base. Obviously, I don't think people would be able to handle it, but I would enjoy the shit out of it. Last thing, NBA Summer League. Dude, I am right to the point of boredom, and I don't know what to tell you anymore.
And I'm tired of being right.
I am right to the point of boredom at this prediction ability to do, but I have a couple called shots that I need to go ahead and go back to and take a little victory lap because 2 of my sleeper picks are officially proving all y'all haters wrong. And let me start off with the first one. I said this last year, and I'll say it again. Yuki Kawamura, the 5'8" Japanese point guard. It's not a gimmick. It's not a joke, dude. Yuki can ball, and too many people get focused on the little things with him, and you're not paying attention to the game because this dude can play. And I told you last year in November, after watching like 4 games, this dude can play, and I got the receipts to prove it. There's a guy they just signed to a 2-way deal, Yuki Kawamura. Yuki can ball. Remember the name, Yuki Kawamura. He needs a nickname because they haven't given him one yet. He just had a great preseason where he averaged about 4.2 assists in 15 minutes per game. He was a member of the Japanese national team last year, but at only 5'8", he's a tiny little feller, and he's the shortest in the NBA and just the 9th that has been 5'8" or shorter since the ABA-NBA merger in 1976. He's fun, he's little, he's got great court vision, but he's good. The kid can go. And he's got a great attitude, but man, he kind of reminds me of like a Japanese white chocolate. His no-look passes, he's got a great shot to him too. And I mean, to be honest, I love him. I have only seen him play in a few preseason games. I love Kawamura more than I love some of my own family. Just bring in Yuki. Just bring in the new Japanese sensation. Gotta give him a nickname. Gotta get a nickname. And guess what? Yuki did it again. He is once again balling in Summer League, this time now for the Chicago Bulls. He just dropped 15 points, 10 assists, 3 steals in a single game, throwing behind-the-back passes. He's doing no-look passes, even had a full-court assist that went viral. One of the other rookies on his team said he's the definition of heart over height. Fans have flooded the comments asking to put Yuki on the roster. He deserves a roster spot. The Bulls are reportedly considering a 2-way deal, and it's not just feel-good. This isn't gimmick. He gets legit comparisons to Steve Nash with flashes of Magic Johnson flair in his passing for a reason. There's speed, there's vision, there's playmaking, and it was easy to see coming if you paid attention. Yuki Kawamura is the real freaking deal. The rest of y'all are just catching up. I am kooky for Yuki. I love that dude. I can't wait for him to actually get his shot on a real roster because in the Summer League, it's been no different. In 31 minutes per game in the Summer League, he averages 12.4 and 7.8 assists, shoots 41% from threes on 6.5 attempts per game. So it's not just that he's a passer. He can shoot. He's smart, high IQ, everything you need. Yuki Kawamura is the real deal. I tried to tell you. Last one, and I've told you this so many times, I don't even want to bring up a single receipt. Just Google it. Google my show, Tricky Guy Sports, and Bronny James. I have been saying for a while that Bronny James, A, I'm rooting for him, but B, is an actual ball player, and y'all are not paying attention. You have to start judging Bronny James on his own. because he is a great story of perseverance, coming back from cardiac arrest, all the things with you're just a Nepo baby and you don't deserve to be here, and him still going out and trying to deal with all that and be successful is truly inspirational. And the key to understanding and rooting and really getting into what makes Bronny James is to separate your emotions from his dad. To separate the emotions from his dad. If you're like me and you're not the hugest fan of his dad, I get it. Judge him on his own. Because people forever just said, dude, this is just a famous last name. Now, again, in Summer League, he has looked like a real two-way prospect. And he just had a huge moment against the number 1 pick and all, Mr. Hype himself, Cooper Flagg, played some great defense. Cooper went 5 of 21 that day. Not all of that was Bronny, but even Cooper and his team said afterwards, dude, Bronny was all over the floor defensively. He's been a defensive monster lately. Offensively has been also very solid. A few 10 to 12-point games, gotten some dunks, some amazing catch-and-shoot threes, had a 17-point outing just the other day, and he's found his balls. He has finally, pun intended, pause, ayo, he has found those balls down there. He's been able to finally just let it all go and play with some confidence. Go, you know what? F the Nepo baby stuff, F the heart attack, F who my daddy is. I'm Bronny freaking James. Deal with it. And played like he actually deserves to be out there. And you are seeing a night and day difference just by the mental part of the game. And his mental is one of the best parts of him. Yes, the defense has been phenomenal. And I think he's really understood that defensively is where I can make a real splash and make an actual role for myself in the league. But he has always been very self-aware and very smart. When they asked him a year ago, NBA comparisons, I thought they were all very fair. He said, I watch a lot of Davion Mitchell, Drew Holiday, and Derek White. Guys that excel in their role and are locked into what they're supposed to do. My goal isn't really to be that guy. There's a lot of guys in the NBA that are that role already. He said, look, I get it. I'm not going to be my dad, but I can be a 3-and-D guy like a Davion Mitchell, maybe a Derek White, hopefully one day a Drew Holiday. I don't think those are unfair comparisons. I think he's close and has the ability and the talent and the athleticism and the drive. And again, the perseverance, the ability to come back from his cardiac arrest, the ability to deal with all the criticism that a lot of athletes could not handle in today's world. I have always been a big Bronny fan. It does not shock me at all that once again he is showing people how just talented, focused, self-aware, and committed he is to earning his minutes out there on the court. He is not just riding his dad's coattails. All you had to do was look at last year's G League to understand what I'm talking about, where he was averaging 22 points per game, 38% from threes on 8.4 attempts. 38% on 8.4 attempts. The guy can shoot the ball, 5.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists in 34 minutes. Once again, Bronny can play, just like I told you, Yuki can play, and just like I told y'all, at some point you're going to have to take my NBA predictions a little more seriously.
You're psychic. You can predict the future.
I'm just saying. And I got to go. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. We will see what happens in the WNBA All-Star Game post. Caitlin, make sure to like and subscribe. I love you. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.